He got more money than Mitch Marner. How does that even make sense? Alright, so today we're going to be doing a little experiment in NHL 20. So I'm curious to see what would happen if we turn the salary cap off and just let things go out of proportion. Every team in this game can just spend as much money as they want on any player. I'm curious to see what contracts will go up to, if it'll stop situations like the Marner situation that's happening in real life. Speaking of, I made a video going over what would happen if he were to get offer sheeted, and if you guys haven't seen that, you should definitely go check that out. The link, or I guess the card for it, will be popping up on the screen right about now. So yeah, basically we're just going to jump into this thing, sim the season, and see what happens in the off season. So here we are, the free agency period. Basically just curious what guys are going to sign for and what teams are going to sign them. So Koivu there is asking 5.3 for 2 years. Galchenyuk wants 5.2 for 4. Brody wants 4.9, so basically 5 for 3. Thornton's asking for 5 for 2. So pretty much, like, I would honestly assume that this is, for the most part, like market value of what the game would expect. Like, the UFA pool for this year is kind of crappy. Not really that many good players. I think it's going to be more interesting the further we go into the simulation. But yeah, these are basically the UFAs that are on the list. But I am curious to see which teams, because there's no salary cap, decide that they are going to just offer stupid contracts to these guys, and what they sign for and where they go. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at the teams, because there's not really a good way to actually see it in some sort of form or something like that. But David Krejci went to the Ducks for $7.25 million for a year. The Flames re-signed Tkachuk at an 8.66 hit for 4 years. The Hurricanes decided that they were going to get Jeff Skinner back, so they offered him $9 million over 7 years. That's absolutely ridiculous. The Blue Jackets signed a bridge deal with Zach Werenski for $10.5 million for 3 years. Holy crap. That is nuts. I did not expect to see that crazy of a contract, but $10.5 million for 3 years is just nuts. Koivu went to the Stars for $5.1 million for 2 years. I think the Red Wings extended Mantha another year for $7.7, so almost $8 million for him. Jordan Staal went to the Panthers, $6 million over 3 years, as well as they signed a 41-year-old Joe Thornton. Jesus, holy crap. $5 million just about for 2 more years. I think by the looks of it, the Devils extended Taylor Hall for $8.7 for 7 years, so that is actually a really good contract. The Islanders extended Barzal under $8 million for 8 years is fantastic for them. It looks like the Rangers extended D'Angelo there, $8.4 million over 2 years remaining on his contract, as well as they picked up TJ Brody, $5 million a year for 3 years. The Ottawa Senators brought back Mark Stone somehow. I don't know how they were able to make that work. I guess Vegas did not re-sign him, so $9.5 million over 7 years is his hit there. As well as they brought in Galchenyuk for about 6 over 4. They got Colin White down there, 5 years, $4.75 million cap hit, which is really good for them. The Flyers ended up getting Henrique there. They signed Ghost to a bridge deal at $4.5 million. Tampa worked out a 3-year bridge deal at $8 million with Braden Point. See, this is what's nuts to me. So, like, Werenski signed a 3-year bridge deal for $10 million a season. Mitch Marner only signed a 4-year bridge deal for $9 million a season. Like, how does that work and make sense? I am not really sure. Vancouver signed Besser to a 2-year extension there, worth just under $7 million. And the Winnipeg Jets locked up Line A for 5 years at a 7.37 cap hit, and Kyle Connor for $6 million over 3. So that's basically the main moves and signings from that. There's definitely a bunch of better players coming up in this free agency available. Getzlaf, Krejci again there. So we're going to sim the season again and see who moves for the second time. Also, Jake Gardner signed in Anaheim, the team that drafted him for $4 million there. Getzlaf got re-inked to a $6 million deal by the Anaheim Ducks. We got Krejci again in free agency for $44.4 million. Danton Heinen re-signed 5 years for $7.5, basically with the Boston Bruins. Dylan Strome, by the looks of it, got extended to basically $7.5 for 2 years. Rantanen got the massive extension, basically almost $10 million for 7 years. I'm surprised it wasn't higher, honestly. That is super surprising. PLD got the 4-year, $7.5 million extension there. Palmieri went to the LA Kings for $5 million. Chris Kreider signed with the Canadiens 3 years, $3.5 million there. Bott got just about $8 million on a 3-year extension in Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk signed just about $6 million 5-year deal off of his RFA. Elias Pettersson only signed for $7 million, almost about $8 million off of his RFA deal. They extended him there. 5 years left. They also inked up Quinn Hughes, basically $5 million for 5 years. And Vegas got Torrey Krug for about $6 million for 2 years. And they already have him on the block. This one doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Jakub Vrana, he's an 84 overall, super low trade value, but $10 million to get him. 2 years left. He's making more money than Ovi. And Hamonic ended up signing here in Winnipeg for $4.5 for 4 years. Binnington is now in Columbus. He's got $5 million in 6 years remaining. Dubnyk is now in Ottawa. He signed $5 million over 1 year. The Flyers actually went ahead and extended Carter Hart. He's a 90 overall. Holy crap. And they got Malcolm Subban as well. Got him for $1.5 million, but 6.73 over 4. And Freddie Anderson actually went back to the Ducks for 6.6 over 7. So they have a goaltending problem once again with Anderson and John Gibson. So because a lot of the guys on their deals are coming up, we're going to do one more season into 2022 and basically see what happens from there. I'm expecting to see a lot of money thrown around. If not, then I don't know, man. I don't know. You can't trust the NHL sim engine these days. The computer GMs are stupid. All right, so like I've kind of figured, we are having some crazy big free agents here. Johnny Gaudreau being the biggest. Obviously, he didn't want to resign in Calgary. Johnny, what are you doing? We don't want you to leave. So the salary expected, he's expected to be the highest at an $8.35 million. And then Stastny, Duclair, Parayko, Bork, Camp Nolan, Patrick, Liljegren, Kadri, Letty, Bertuzzi. So we have some very big names. A bunch of these guys are RFAs, so that is kind of unfortunate. But the UFA pool is still pretty good, and I'm expecting some overpayments. Come on, we got to go out on a bang. Thatcher Demko, like, give him $15 million just because. Why not, right? Like, obviously, there was guys that were expiring with their teams, and they did get extensions, so we'll see that after the entire thing is done. But I want to see some big names signed for some big money. Coyotes gave Kessel a big contract there, $10.275 over 3 years. That's what I want to see. Alex Nylander, actually, it's 6.5 over 4 years. I don't know about that. That's an interesting one. Deline is on 5.7 for 5 years. This is the kind of stuff that's like, yeah, that's a little bit strange, but it's fine. The Brinkat moved up to $7 million over 2. There, so there's that. Jared Spurgeon also 4.9 for 1 year as well. Brody is now a Colorado Avalanche. He's 5.17 over 1 year. Cale Makar is a 5.45 over 2. Paul Stastny 5.53 over 1. This Werenski contract is still just madness to me. 10.5 for 1. He got more money than Mitch Marner. How does that even make sense? And Bergeron. I didn't even see Bergeron is now a Columbus Blue Jacket. What? Okay, that's insane. Klingberg got the big extension there, 9.71 at 6 years. Brent Burns also apparently in Dallas now, so they're just taking all of San Jose's old players. $8 million over 3 years. Barkov has that 9.735 with a year extension. That's an insane contract right there. Max Domi, they got at a cheaper rate for the extension, a 7.795 for 4 years. Okay, it's about 7.8. That's super interesting. Druin's contract's up next year. Subban gets a 9.75 or 7.2 over 4 years, and Hall is an 8.7 over 5. Jack Hughes goes to a 7.6 over 7. Nico Hischier was on a $7 million contract too. I didn't even notice that. Super freaking interesting on those contracts. Parayko signed with the Islanders there for 5.1 over 4 years, so that's very low, very, very low. Capo Caco, 6.6 for 4 years, 89. Like, what is with these contracts? Okposo is $6 million for 1 year. What sense does that make? Holy crap! Why? What is the point of that? I don't get it. Shabbat got the just about $8 million contract for 2 years there in Ottawa there. Coots re-upped his contract, 8.13 over 7. So Johnny Gaudreau went to Pittsburgh for 8.68. Johnny, you're worth more than that. And the Flames would have given it to you. 8.7 million there. Malkin dropped his salary down to 7.17 for 1 year. What is that? That doesn't make any sense. Letang, 5.485 for 1 year. Like, what is going on? You think that these guys would be signing like lockup deals? Like, Malkin is granted 36 years old. But, like, signed for $10 or $11 million, dude. You're still an 86 overall. Still can't believe that the Marner contract was only $9 million. That's just nuts. That's nuts. And the fact that Pettersson only signed for under 8 for 5 years, like, what is that? I don't understand it. You're making a little bit more than Tyler Myers. Like, you've got to be kidding me. This is also a nuts contract. Like, why is Verana making almost $10 million? What is that? Thomas Greiss is making $4 million in Boston, and they have Henrik Lundqvist. What sense does that make? Holy crap. So this was kind of underwhelming. I did not expect this to go this way. I expected it to be more like just ridiculous contracts and just teams just stacking players, because Gaudreau hit the free agency, and sure, he was asking 9, but teams can offer as much as they freaking want. So, like, I figured it would be a bidding war. Philly would offer 10 million, and Pittsburgh would offer 11 million, and Calgary would offer 12 million, and Toronto would offer 13 million. But it doesn't really seem that way. It seems like the GMs in the NHL kind of try to keep their team under the salary cap, with some certain computer GMs being the exception. But yeah, that's it. Basically what would happen if there was no salary cap in the NHL. Like I said, some things surprised me, some things didn't. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely be sure to check out other videos here on the channel. They'll be coming up in the ends card. We appreciate you guys checking the video out and sticking around to the end. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time.